Hey everybody, welcome back to Fastlane with John Williams and myself, Ryan O'Connor, as we talk all things Fastlane.
Life in the Fastlane, as
What's
we call it.
going on?
Lots.
What?
What's gone on and what's going on is two different stories, but what was going on...
Dakar's done.
Yeah, it's done now. You can now.
I can see you again.
That car, like you said, is done.
You can come out the closet now.
Yeah, I've got to find things to do now.
Play paddle. I get confused.
Listen, yeah,
it's paddle.
Don't start now. My wife's very upset because that's like my new hobby now.
Paddle.
Paddle. I say paddle. Yeah, it's better. But talking about things we've done, I mean, this past weekend we had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Listen, it's been a busy week in South Africa. It's just been one of those crazy weeks. A lot of the month left. There's so much January. It's the longest month in the year by a long shot. There's just so much to do, so much that's on the go. Let's quickly recap cars we've been driving this week. You've driven the new Haval GT.
Yeah.
It's not new. It's been around for a while.
Yes.
One of the better looking cars on the road.
Yeah.
How does it drive?
I think I was like really excited to drive this car. So I was like maybe a little bit too enthusiastic. After driving the electric car, I felt that there was a little bit lack of torque, so in that department. But the styling, the exterior and the interior,
sounds good.
It sounds phenomenal. So I believe they're going to be bringing out an engine with a little bit more torque. I think, they learned from the first model, so that'll just refine it a little bit better. But all in all, I mean, the package deal from CMH with those cars is just phenomenal. You can't beat it.
What do they have on the floor there? Was there anything that turns... You know what I love about going to CMH, for example, is when you go there, because there's such a variety of cars, there's always like something different, like whether it's a Jeep or a Haval or a Proton, there's something there that's, always catches my eye.
Yeah, no, look, they've got a couple of cars
Alpha.
there. Yeah, I like some of the Alphas. Oh, they've got some beautiful Alphas. They've got Jeeps there, and I think some of the customizing.
What's Father Christmas's favorite car? An Alpha.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea.
Oh, blind Bambi. Okay, listen, let's talk quickly about cars. You've driven that. So I had the R8 V10 5.2 litre neighbor waker upper.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to take it to work in the morning because it just makes too much noise with the stock exhaust. The thing is a beast, and under $1 million with 55,000 Ks on the clock. Rola Luxury Collection to Brandon and his team out there. They've found themselves getting a load of cool stock in. Speaking of which, I've currently got a 2021 G400D, a white G-Wagon. That's amazing. I'm going to show you some pictures of that and talk about that next week. But the R8, I've realized it's a great car.
Everyday car. I mean, could you drive it every day?
Well, the new one's got a dual clutch. The very first R8s were single clutch cars. So that 2010, it feels like it breathes between gears.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. But the sound takes that all away.
It does.
I think I could hear you coming over the top of the hill there the other day when I was on the paddle court.
Yeah, but that was without the car. You can hear me because it's uphill, and I make a lot of noise when I cycle uphill.
No, listen, phenomenal car. And I mean, for under $1 million, like we've spoken about, you can't buy much these days for under R1 million. So that's a lot of car. If you want to get into the supercar category, I think that's a good start.
Cars wise, this week we went to the launch. It wasn't really cars, but the theme was Formula One. The Cipla event we did this week. And for the first time, you got to hear, while there was a company of somebody we know, one of the greats in Formula One, in conversation with us.
I mean, that was quite something. I mean, besides the event itself, which is spectacular, but to arrive there, and the next minute we just casual having a chat, and it's like, let me just call Bernie Eccleston.
Yeah.
And the next minute we're chatting to Bernie. I mean, he's 90 years old. He sounds still very, very sharp. But I mean, just casually shooting the breeze with Bernie.
A huge thanks to Bernie for the gift. I have a gift from Bernie Eccleston that arrived. Thank you very much through mutual friends. It's a podium. Now, tell me something about this quickly, because I'm intrigued by this, John. I don't know. This is your world, not mine, right? Tell me about the Pirelli caps. I'm intrigued. I know that it's a tradition that's been long-lasting in motorsport for a while, but there's also, if you go to eBay right now and have a look, you'll see that there's about 20 gazillion Pirelli caps that you can buy. Tell us about the ones that are given to drivers. What's the dynamic there?
So when you're on the podium,
it goes back forever.
Yeah, so when you're on the podium and you win a race, first, second, or third, you get a little Pirelli cap, but a normal Pirelli cap will just have the branding on the top, but on the peak you've got those little flowers. It's almost like, I forget what they call it now, I'm not going to mention it.
A wreath.
So that they put over the drivers. That they used to do that, but now they've gotten away with that, and they put that branding on the peak of the cap. Now you can't buy that. Pirelli doesn't sell those caps, so it's a FIA thing. It's
eBay. Go look
for
eBay.
A lot of money.
Go look.
How much money, by the way? I've got a few there. Maybe I could sell them.
No, this is the thing.
Maybe I can start my crowdfunding for my Dakar.
They're not real. They're not real. The real ones. They're not the one that they give. They look like the real ones. Okay. So, it's like many things in life. If you go to certain countries, you can buy knockoff things.
I suppose.
Do you know people that buy knockoff like watches and pens and knives and luxury goods? The luxury goods, the counterfeit sector of luxury goods globally is monstrously big.
Yeah.
You take your wife on a trip, okay, to Thailand. I guarantee you're going to go past the market and she's going to say, "Oh, John, it's an LV bag. It's a Louis Versace. It's the real Louis Versace bag." And you're going to go, "Oh, yes, there's no ways I'm paying 30 grand for this back home.
Yeah.
Which one do you want?" And she's going to go, and the guy's going to say, "Which one you want?" She's going to go, "The nice one, the real LV one, real LV." It's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real when you're paying $200 for an LV bag. She's going to bring it back, and people are going to go, "Oh, my word, Jill and Karen have LV bags." But we'll know, they'll know. And people that know that this is an illicit trade that damages brands globally.
Yes.
The counterfeit trade.
Yeah.
It's horribly wrong.
So it is. I mean, I can put my hand up there on watches. So many years ago, I got given a watch.
Yes.
Okay. Someone bought it for me in Turkey.
Was it a Breitling? Or was it a Breitling?
No. And a friend of mine then decides to invite me to a function.
Yeah.
And then I arrived there, and his other partner is like a watch guru, and I've got this watch on. And obviously it was a little bit embarrassing. So the whole night I'm trying to make sure that this watch isn't, visual, kind of hiding it, making sure that he doesn't see. Because these guys, the people in the know, they know. They spot those things very quickly.
But I did tell you not to flash it. I just said keep it down low.
And then our other friend, Johan, grabbed my arm and said, "Oh my gosh, what have you got on your arm?" And I'm like, "No, nothing, it's all cool." And I was trying to put my hand in my pocket and try and hide. And then Peter was like watching my arm move very quickly, and he's like, he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to be, one of those guys.
Don't you do whatever you want. I mean, your life is your life, but people know. People know when it's real, when it's not real. Rather go and invest in a good quality Breitling. Please.
Yeah.
Listen, speaking of those caps, so I got the cap.
Yeah.
It's a Formula One podium cap.
Yeah.
Signed by Bernie.
It's amazing.
That will go in our collection.
And we got the photo of him actually signing it, which is really cool.
Yeah. That'll be flashed on the screen now, by the way.
And I just want to say something.
Yeah.
We have pictures of Ryan in a full FIA Sparko suit.
Look at me. I look like the Michelin man.
You look like the mechanic.
I look like the Michelin. Never mind the Pirelli man.
No, jokes aside, you pulled it off. Man. You pulled it off really well. And thanks again to Sparko and the guys that came on board so quickly to get to those suits,
Very quickly, for those that don't know, why are the Sparko suits, or any fire retardant suit for that matter, 20 grand? Is it because they're fire retardant, or is it because what makes and this isn't just a Sparko. This is if you're going to buy any
safety fireproof suit. I mean, that's the safety in the suit.
Yeah.
When we're flying along at these speeds, if you have an accident, it's to protect you. It's a couple of seconds can change whether you survive or not. So the more expensive suits just have more fancier layers of protection. So that's what makes them so expensive. But I mean, those suits are proper. I mean, we looked the part.
Yeah.
It was quite cool.
It was very cool.
And then you put me on the spot to race on the simulator.
Yes. And you won.
I did win.
Well done.
I'm glad you said that.
Champion.
Yes, it feels great to win. Even if you're winning on a simulator, winning's winning. I made my day.
The thing about races, though, is that races are always wanting to win. You don't get into anything, not even a game.
But we expected to win. That's also the problem. There's a lot of pressure on us, to win. I mean, that evening, as much as I was smiling and I'm like, I got this, I was watching very quickly of the guys that went before me. What they were doing, where they were braking. I was kind of stealing because remember, I didn't get to practice. So races we watch and we learn and we adapt very quickly. So without even knowing, I was looking at the lines and where they're braking. So I'm glad I won because obviously it's always good to win.
Now, let me talk from that. We talk about the last week we had. There's a chain of restaurants that are owned by a couple of individuals that have really almost changed the landscape to a degree of the CBD of Cape Town. They've opened up restaurants, whether they be steakhouses, whether they be a burger and lobster place, whether they be a top-notch Italian restaurant like Scala, whether they be a Mexican place like Hacienda, and now they've got Nikkei, which is another fusion-style restaurant. But they've got this change of chains of restaurants owned by Nico, by Paolo, by Anthony and Barry, good friends. They've invited me this week. We had a Michelin-starred Italian chef in town by the name of Luciano Monasilio. Now, he's the youngest Italian Michelin-starred chef, one of them in the world, right?
Wow.
He's got Luciano's in Rome, which is, you still got to do the hands.
Yeah.
John, if I don't do the hands.
The meatballs.
The meatballs. He's called the King of Carbonara. King of Carbonara.
I got it.
It was mind-blowingly good. Really. He comes to town to help them with their menu at Scala for a couple of days.
Did you recommend this, or did you choose off the menu?
It was a 5-star course,
Okay.
wine-paired meal. That was
Red or white?
both.
Okay, because normally they say spaghetti meatballs is what the red.
There was no spaghetti meatballs. There was carbonara and a mix of other Italian food, veal, a couple of other things, anchovies. Something fishy about those things.
I thought there was something smelling.
Lekker. Ooh, reminds me of high school. Do you know why? Do you know why
I'd love to
the
know
smell
now.
of fish reminds me of high school? Were you ever
Pedro
around
on your sawmills? What red? Pedro?
Creoles.
Oh yeah,
Creoles chips.
I was around, yes, when that was the blue packet with the pink
and then
stuff on it.
After break, my fingers really smelt of fish.
It wasn't my favorite packet of chips back in the day.
And then people were like, "Oh, what smells? Ryan's fingers. What's Ryan been doing at break time?" I would go, Creoles. I've been eating Creoles.
Yeah.
Prefect.
You were prefect.
Yeah,
No ways.
I was.
No
Educated
ways.
High school.
No ways.
So hold on. So let's come back.
Yeah.
we off the track. So he was there.
Okay.
Huge thanks to Roberto and Pedro. You mentioned Pedro and Roberto. Roberto is the owner of Idiom Wine Farms. They were the
beautiful wine farm.
Stunning venue.
Yes.
Out in Somerset West. We need to go there and visit him sometime. If you don't know the venue, go and have a look at Idiom. Take your family for a meal.
Spectacular views.
Beautiful wines. Roberto, the owner, he paired his wines with this meal at Scala. Was beautiful. That was a part of the week that was. Also, we had cricket practice in. Speaking of which, I want to tell you about a relationship. So we talk about relationships and a little insight into some of these relationships.
Yes.
And hopefully on this show, you're going to come and you're going to meet some former Formula One drivers and back staff and team owners that we've been setting up in place for a while. But I want to talk to you about a really special relationship. When you've got a good relationship by default, racing with him.
Yes.
I've never ever really raced in that world that you live. But I'll tell you an interesting story. Early in 2000, there was a company called Evox who are still around. They're sports nutrition suppliers.
Yes.
At that stage, they were to the Stormers and to Province before it became Stormers and Province. JP Nordia was the guy in charge, and a guy working for him by the name of Brett Bellinger. Now, Brett worked with JP at Evox, and I got to know Brett. And Brett left Evox, and when he left, he said to me, "Ryan, I'm going. You won't believe what we're starting in South Africa. What's coming here officially." Now, I want you to just remember that the only things that this brand was known for back then was a handful of sneakers, not many, mainly real sporting gear like soccer boots, the world famous soccer boots, brands as in sporting boots for
racing shoes.
And a small, limited amount, not even, of lifestyle wear. It was minute. But the first thing South Africa was going to get in early 2000 was Puma shoes, sportswear, etc. He went across to take up the role and to bring the brand into the country. And one of the very first people that he had an agreement with, and he pulled across, I was working at Good Hope FM at the time. I was doing a show called The Fast Lane. And in actual fact, he called me across. He said, "Listen, we'd like to get you in gear. We'd like to get you, because it's the fast lane. It's lifestyle. It's whatever. We'd like to put you in some gear." And I'll never forget going, "Your choices are A, B, or C," because there wasn't really much back then. And in the space of a year, way back in the beginning of that relationship, the brand just globally, not just but globally, it became this lifestyle brand that slowly crept into people's lives. And here we are in 2024. My relationship is still with Alex, with amazing guys. Brett is still at Puma. He's the marketing director now, but 24 years later, it's almost irreplaceable, that relationship. You know, I go to the shops, you and I both.
Yeah.
People often say, well, you know, do you ever? I can't remember when last I purchased a pair of shoes because
we get spoiled.
every single time there's something that's needed or something drops, the guys at Puma will pick up the phone, and they're very family centric, and I love that. Relationships that they've got with their former athletes, relationships that they've got with people that have been a part of the brand aren't just a flash in the pan relationship. It's long lasting. You almost become a part of the family, which makes it impossible really to go anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I went to go fetch something today, which we're going to show, which I can't wait.
Let's quickly
but that
talk about that.
facility is huge. I mean, it's grown massively. Let's look here.
You bring the box into shot here. You brought a box. Oh, hold on, I got a knife.
Do you have a knife? Not like you to have a knife.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just slice it open. Slice it open.
I feel like I've been handed like the...
It would help if you got if you put it into the hole properly.
No, I got it.
Okay, here we go. You cracked it open. Ooh.
Oh. It's well packaged. I just want to watch our cars on the showroom floor there.
Put that on the floor. And let's see what gives. Okay, so just reason why we got a box isn't just to show off that we're getting new stuff from Puma. John and I have stupidly agreed to play cricket on Sunday in a social cricket team representing Smile FM in an intermediate cricket day. And wow.
And we wanted to share this experience
Never
together.
seen you battle with a box.
No. Are you ready?
Yes, it's red and it's a box. Oh, Bafana is the best team in the world.
We've got no excuse, Ryan.
What?
To win.
Look at that.
These are smart. So we're playing it. What's the sixes, huh? So it's...
you know what it's going to look like?
Tell
As
me.
mensen voor jou voeten zien dat te sê hulle verjaar jou voeten.
These are awesome.
Look at these. Look at the underneath of these.
And just to tell people, we've gone with those colors because of the Smile connection. Because our shirts are yellow, correct?
Yeah, yellow shirts.
And we like to match.
Cool.
We like to match.
This. Thank you very much, Alex and the team at Puma for our Puma cricket shoes.
We're very excited.
Those are excited. We'll try them this evening when we have our very first Nets session. Coming up, we've got prize winners. A huge thanks again to Cellu City for giving us prizes. Comment in the comments down below. We want to talk on posters on your wall. It's a thing you don't see really anymore. In our next podcast, we want to talk about growing up with posters on your wall. Yeah. Did you have posters of your wall? Were they cars or were they MacGyver, A-Team,
Sports Illustrated,
a half-naked woman from Scope magazine?
Oh.
I don't know.
Zigzag,
some people,
surf magazines.
People had the strangest of things. My one mate, Grant, Binky, if you're watching, Binky used to pull out the middle pieces of Scope magazine.
Really?
And have them on his wall until his mom would come and clear them off, and then he'd put them back on again. And she'd take them off and he'd put them on. She'd take them off. And you know where I'm going with this, right? What did you have on your walls growing up, if you had anything on your walls? We'd love to hear from you. Leave your comments down below, and we are going to randomly give some goodies away with our friends at Cellu City. Speaking of which, this weekend, if you pop into the store and you happen to notice, just by coincidence, that the S24 series of phones is in store already, you are lucky. Pick me up the new S24 Ultra AI. I'd love that. Wouldn't you, John?
Of course.
Okay,
Can't
and then
wait. The excitement.
Officially, we'll show you what it looks like on the show, on the podcast, and on this episode of next episode of the Fastlane.
Yeah.
Cool. Take care, like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, comment down below, and we'll be back with the Fastlane next week.